Alright, I'm going to move the clutch slave cylinder down a little bit because the cover for the reservoir of it is too high. It's above the hood line. So I got to move it down, and this will kill two birds with one stone, because it'll also, by moving it down away from the pivot point of the clutch pedal, it'll make it a little bit harder to press, step on the pedal, give it a little bit more firmness to the pedal. Plus, I need a little bit more throw. The push rod, the clutch push rod, is right at the very end of its adjustment, and by moving it down, I'm going to get a little bit more throw. That way I can adjust back the push rod to more of the middle of its adjustment rather than at the very end. So what I did was I cut this piece, got it out of the way, and I just sliced it out. And there it is there. This is what holds it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to move it down about an inch, probably to about there, and just weld it all back in again. And then extend where the push rod hooks up to the pedal, move that down an inch also. So that's what we're doing today. Working on the clutch, seeing how the motor's not here. And I talked to the shop owner, and he says they're going to have it apart by this weekend, and he'll give me a call, let me know what the motor needs and what it doesn't need. Okay, cool. Alright, we got the piece cut out. We got we trimmed off the outer edge here. We cut that away from this piece. We'll weld it back on later. Now this is going to sit, let's see if I can find the spot here, kind of like that. So I'm going to do it one hand here. It's going to be welded in kind of like that. Okay, get my finger out of there. And then these pieces, rather than cut this off, because they were in the way when I was slicing this part out, what I did is I sliced it that way and then just trimmed the bottom here so I could just bend them. Now I can bend them back, and it saves me from welding them back together and across here. So these will get bent back down for the part of this curve. Okay. And I got the other piece. I'm working on that now. That's going to be welded onto here, and it's going to come around. It's the other piece of here that was welded to this. But because I had to move this down, I cut out, what I did is I cut out an extra inch underneath here. So this was up an inch, because I wanted to drop it an inch, right? Okay, follow me. The piece that was down here, I took out this piece here that was down here, the extra inch. I cut that off because it was attached to that, and then I separated it from under here so this could drop down. That gave me this piece here, so that was welded onto the other piece that was up here. I don't know if I'm explaining it clear enough, but you'll see once it's getting back together again. You can basically see that this is a clean piece here that I added in. I needed a little bit more than what I had taken out on the bottom, because when you cut something out, it removes like about an eighth of an inch. So 2 cuts, there's a quarter of an inch. So rather than have a quarter-inch gap, try to fill it, what I did is I cut a whole new piece, put it in there, and made it a quarter-inch higher, and trimmed it to match that first cut that went across this way. Okay? Now, I'll fit the side pieces, make sure they fit. Then I'll weld them to here, because it's going to be tough to get in here to weld. So I'll have this off. I'll weld in the side piece, then put it on, and then weld around wherever I can get at. And we should hopefully we'll have the master cylinder for the clutch in its new home, new position, by the end of the day here. Alright, cool. Okay, now I banged this part down using the curved dolly and set it up under here. Match the curve back up again. So I bang that down. Now I'll weld it in here. And then I'll bring the top piece down and weld that to this piece. And then I can grind in a radius. And that'll bring this back down, and this will be kind of done. So, we're working on it. Here's the other piece. It's been extended. This is going to go pretty much like that. Okay. I got to put it's a little bit too straight. I got to put a slight curve at that end to match right in here. Just starts to curve in here. So that's where I'm gonna bang that in. Bring it back over. Weld this to this piece. You can see there's a you can see there's a curve to it right along here, right there. Well, that's what this piece here has to match. As you can see, it's a little bit too straight, so I'm going to bend it and so we'll have the same curve. Weld it to that piece. Take that piece as a unit, and then slide it in, and then start tacking it all in, and then bending the rest of it down, and it should be ready to bolt up. Cool. Okay. We got the piece welded in. We welded this piece here to that. First I tacked this in place to make sure I knew where this was going to be. Then I got this in against here while that was tacked. It looked good here, and I welded it here. Then I broke the tacks, pulled it out, welded it all in here, and then on the back side. Then put it back on, tacked it, and then welded it all the way around and out this side. Now what I got to do is I got to weld along here, along through here, bend this piece down. I might put a piece in here, or I might just fill it with welding rod. Just keep going. I just weld it in through here. I'll seam seal. What I'll do is in this corner on the underside, I'll seam seal it so no water can get through if there's any holes or any imperfections in the welds. So I don't want any water leaking inside here. It's starting to rust any more than this old bucket is. So that's gonna go. We're on the last leg here. We'll just bring that down, then finish welding it up, grind it, and make it look good from the outside. Because you really don't care what it looks like underneath. It's going to be seam sealed. As long as it's strong, it's going to hold. And we're all set. Give it a quick coat of primer just so it won't rust. And cool. All right. Okay, be right back. Okay. We got to weld it down through here. We weld it out around here, around the corner. You only got to fill this gap here now. Excuse me. So I can either take the time to cut a little strip and put it there and hold it there with some vice grips, and then weld on either side and fill it, or I can be real lazy and just, you know, weld this whole gap in with 10,000 spot welds, you know. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill right here. I'm going to show you that you can fill it with a MIG welder, something wide like that. You just keep building it up, small spot welds at a time, and then I'll go cut a piece and I'll put it right in here, and I'll weld that, and we'll grind it all up. Okay? Cool. It's just a whole bunch of spot welds. You can see I started to fill it in, and I can just grind it. Any low spots, you go back and fill it again. You know what? I'm not even going to cut a piece. I'm just going to continue out with a bunch of spot welds and fill it all out, and then grind it up. Cool. Okay. Now I added extra just in case there were any load spots. But normally I would just weld it really close to this surface or this surface so there'd be less grinding. But I wanted to show you that you just fill it up. I call it cosmetic welding. It's like Bondoing, only you're using liquid metal. So okay, I'm going to start grinding it now, and then that's pretty much it, with the exception of filling it with a seam sealer in the back side to make sure there's no pinholes and leaks. All right, I'm going to start grinding it. Okay, be right back. That took about not even 5 minutes to fill that out. And what we got here is the clutch master cylinder. Hold on a minute. Put that away. And there, now you see that's gonna sit like that. It's gonna sit just about like that. It just will fit just under the hood line. Remember before it was up here and sticking out? Now it's just on the curve. It's not bolted in because it's trying to fall that way, but it'll sit like that. So now I can put the hood on. I can start finish this, bolt this back in. When the motor comes back, we can do the training, put the master cylinder down, the slave cylinder, all that stuff back in. Then we'll put the radiator back on, put the radiator shell, start fitting the hood, and we'll finish the hood up. Then we start on the big task of sanding and getting rid of all this mess. So, alright, so we got that done today. That's cool. I was really looking forward to that. Like I said, this is just kind of hanging here, so it's going to sit like that. It's perfect. Now on the inside, on the clutch pedal, where the rod comes off the clutch pedal to here, I'm going to lower that an inch also, so it'll be a straight shot into here. Otherwise it's going to be on an angle like this, and I don't want that. That's not a good thing. And that'll give me a little bit more feel on the pedal and a little bit more throw, because right now the clutch is so light you can't even feel the pedal. There's no feel whatsoever, and it's too light. So that means that the push rod is too high up on the pedal. It's too close to the pivot point. I have too much leverage. The pedal, where your foot is and where the rod is, there's too much difference. So I got too much leverage. That way it feels way too easy. So by lowering it, I'll have less leverage. It'll be a little bit firmer pedal. And cool. Alright, that's it for today. I'm going to start picking up, and we'll go put this on YouTube. Cool.